I will try my best to make this as short as possible without distorting or diluting the essence of what I am trying to say. Let me take you back 5 years when the COVID vaccination program began. We knew then that it hardly affected children, maybe less than 2 or 3 per million. In fact, in Germany, over a period of 2 years, not a single child died of COVID. The same situation was in England, where I think about 2 children died. These, of course, were children who had no underlying diseases. So the fact remains that children were largely unharmed by the virus, especially girls and women. But despite this knowledge, every effort was made to make vaccination in children mandatory, and they almost succeeded. In the United States, efforts were made to include this in the school vaccination program, in the childhood vaccination program, but luckily there was some resistance or some good sense. There were some local areas where they succeeded. But the fact is that there were attempts made, and a lot of big names were involved who advocated the importance of vaccinating children, despite knowing there was absolutely no harm by the virus in children. Largely, there would be a morbidity or mortality of 1 or 2 per million, which is hardly anything. Now, I tried my best to warn the public against vaccinating children with the COVID vaccines. However, not many paid attention, and I was a bit surprised at that point of time. I was a bit baffled that why would people who were championing for children not concerned about the serious adverse effects of COVID vaccination? We all knew that COVID vaccines could cause myocarditis, they could cause autoimmune diseases, and they could cause serious neurological problems. But yet, there was an intense desire and effort made by various administrations in various countries to vaccinate children. I fail to understand why was this agenda, I believed, an agenda against children. Now we come back to this area, which is to the west of India and to the east of Europe. This is a small area, and I forget the name of this piece of land. I think it is called Haza or Baza or Saza or Raza or something like that. But the fact is, for the last 2 years, we've had thousands of children killed over there, killed in literally cold blood. Children have been starved to death, children have been bombed, children have been burned to death. In fact, we have this report of about 300 or 400 bullets being fired at a 6-year-old girl. This is unbelievable. And yet, there was not a squeak from the elites in the West. Yes, there were a handful of people who protested and protested loudly, but the fact is that by and large, nothing, this was entirely ignored. Again, it was almost as if the public had an agenda against the very lives of little children and babies. And I couldn't understand why this was happening. Now, finally, I have an inkling as to what has been happening and how to explain this avoidance of the truth that there seemed to be an agenda against children. And that is because of these files. You have all heard about them, you must have read about them, and these files are, the names in these files, the emails in these files are all over. Recently, the the Department of Justice in the United States has released apparently 3 million pages or 3 million documents, and which also include photographs and videos. And the assurance is that another 3 million are waiting to be released. But what we gather from here is very disturbing. And I will cut to the bone right away. You see, you have subsets of people, subsets of names in these files. There is one subset, of course, which assumes or presumes or deludes that it is very clever or very sophisticated, and this subset of people try to connect themselves with this man, this person. I forget his name. Either it's Epstein or Gemstein or whatever. So they try to contact this man in order to pursue their careers or to get a connection or simply make a few bucks, right? So this subset of people are set aside. There is another subset of people. These guys were bad. They wanted a good time, and they knew. Well, both these subsets knew very well that this particular man, was an offender, and he had been convicted for soliciting underage girl or girls, right? Which is a very heinous crime. They knew that this man had been convicted. They knew that this man had been kept under arrest for almost a year. Yet they tried to stay in touch with him, yet they try to endear themselves to this person. There is another subset, sadly, which is unbelievably wicked and evil. These guys, these people are mind-boggling. They are beyond the pale. These are the really, really evil people who did not hesitate to torture, to kill little children. All right, the names are there, the allegations are there, right? Of course, these matters remain to be proven, but I now understand the mindset which was behind the vaccination program for children, despite knowing that the vaccines could have serious adverse effects, and the mindset that completely ignored, looked the other way, while thousands of these children were being killed in the last 2 years in this spot of land which I have named. So we have a connection, we have a thread running, and the sordid fact, the tragic realization is that there are people, and these people are, the more evil they are, the more powerful they are, the richer they are. They could be whatever, they could be billionaires, oligarchs, or huge celebrities. But the fact is that they are so powerful and they are so rich that they completely control the narrative. They in fact control the world, and this is the reason why the general public was somehow not made to understand the gravity of the dangers of the COVID vaccines in babies and in children, and also the dastardly deeds, the evil which was committed in this piece of land which I have already mentioned. And of course, now we all know to what extent, to what depths of depravity these people were and possibly are capable of. What is the answer to this? I really don't know, because as I have tweeted a few days back, I don't believe that the Americans will prosecute Tony Fauci, because the Americans themselves made that particular virus. And the Americans will never investigate what happened in this piece of land, what happened to the thousands of children who were massacred for the previous 2 years, because the Americans themselves were supporting these crimes. They were pledging and providing fiscal assistance apart from arms and ammunition and logistics. So we come back to this, the files will make a lot of noise, maybe for a few days, maybe for a few weeks. I refuse to believe that these files will hit the public, and the effect would linger on for a generation. These are exaggerations, these are amplifications. The reality is that the people mentioned in the files, particularly the people who did the most heinous crimes, are the ones who control the system, control this world. It is a very sad state of affairs, but this is the great